Hey there, friends and foes. Good morning, multiverse. This is Back of the Cereal Box, the pop culture podcast that celebrates the fun of the Saturdays of our youth. I am your host, the prophet of pop culture, John Pyka. You can call me Johnny Beyond if you dare. And this morning, we've got some very special guests. We've got Drew and Jeff with us to talk about Spider-Man 94, and we are going to answer the question: is Spider-Man 94 the definitive Spider-Man? And we'll answer that right after this.
Saturday morning, it's fun for all. Cartoons and cereal, let's have a ball. Comic books, kaiju, pro wrestling too. The fun is waiting for you. Back of the cereal box.
All right. This is Back of the Cereal Box. I am of a generation where we did not have iPhones or tablets at the breakfast table on Saturday morning. We were sitting down with big bowls of cereal, watching cartoons, reading comic books, watching kaiju, kung fu, pro wrestling, and in between comic books, cartoons, kaiju, we were reading the Back of the Cereal Box because that was our newspaper. And this morning, I've got peanut butter Captain Crunch. Everybody has peanut butter Captain Crunch this morning if they followed instructions. So without further ado, we're going to bring on our regular guest co-host. He's joined us several times. Please welcome Drew Milden from Drew versus the World. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning, Johnny. How's it going?
It's going well. And we've got a very special guest with us this morning, Drew. Please welcome of the Deep Cuts Game Show Podcast, Jeff Penn.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, Jeff. Glad to have you. We are going to be talking about Spider-Man 94, but the first thing we have to do, the very first question I have to ask everyone is what's in the bowl? And I know, Jeff, you were the one who made the suggestion for peanut butter Captain Crunch. And so I'm going to break this bad boy open. I haven't even opened the box.
I just opened mine too, Johnny.
And I'm curious. So you guys are in the U.S. I'm assuming, Drew, you're also in the U.S.
Yes.
I'm in Canada. So I'm assuming our boxes are going to be a little different. And the difference
They are.
The first thing that I see the difference is the name on the back.
Well,
It's French.
Well, that's what I didn't realize until I got this home. And I was like, okay, it's peanut butter crunch. And then there is no back of the box anymore. We've just got French.
Yeah.
So there's not even any recipes or a maze or anything fun. And it's like that on all, like I looked at Raisin Bran, same thing, cornflakes, all the same. So there, and I don't know when it switched. I can remember looking at the back of the cereal box within the last couple of years and seeing a honeycomb map and being like, oh, cool. But that's all gone. And the other thing I'm curious about, what does your peanut butter Captain Crunch actually look like?
Okay. So
Comparison time.
this surprised me, okay? So I remembered peanut butter Captain Crunch being the same shape as regular Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
Kind of a square, almost like a waffle, but it's a round pebble.
Yeah, it's become a pebble, which I'm wondering, has Captain Crunch entirely switched? Because I remember Captain Crunch being almost a trial to eat. It was so sharp and up on the roof of your mouth that while you loved the taste of it, it would scar you for a day with like top mouth cuts. But now as it should. It was kind of the benefit or the to slow you down a little bit. But now it's just a little pebble, so it's not quite the same anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now, Jeff, one of our regular co-hosts who has not been able to be with us for a couple of weeks, she is in Manitoba, Windsor, Manitoba. And so she comments about the back of the cereal box being just in French all the time. But I'm going to show the back of the cereal box because this has, once again, a Captain versus Jean Lafoot. And this is Jean Lafoot has buried Captain Crunch cereal. Help the crew find 3 boxes of cereal each. Captain Crunch, Oops All Berries, Captain Crunch Berries, and Peanut Butter Crunch. So you got to find 3. Well, this is not a challenge because, I mean, you can see where they are.
Where are they, Johnny?
Well, we got here. We got here, and here, and here, and here. I found them all. Like. Now there is a cute unscramble puzzle down here.
That's what it's all about. I
But,
got the same one.
Oh, and hey, look, Aubrey has joined us, and oh my gosh, it's Mary Jane Watson. Holy freaking cow!
See,
Aubrey, you
I'm
look
sorry,
amazing.
guys. Peter left me on red again.
Very, very cool. So
That's awesome.
Aubrey, your sound is coming out of your laptop instead of your headset because we're getting echo on your mic.
Well, I will work on that.
So Johnny, game on. You didn't check out. So if you go to the bottom left of your cereal box,
yes,
it says discoveries. Can you find? And that's the actual thing you're supposed to be finding. 6 dragonflies, 3 shovels, 3 sailor hats, 1 lizard, 2 birds, 1 magnifying glass, and 2 pairs of binoculars.
And a partridge in a pear tree. So, Aubrey,
it's a little bit more difficult.
How is this?
Yeah, still getting a lot of echo. And I've got echo cancellation turned off on.
It's from the alley. It's from the alley where Spider-Man's turned upside down.
Right? I've got the
Oh, that's better. Whatever
behind
you did.
me, so
Yeah, whatever you did, just fix it. Awesome. All right, so Aubrey, I'm going to tell you, I think this is your best cosplay yet.
Well done. Yeah.
It gives 2 thumbs up. Or 2
I
of
was
these.
sewing on buttons this morning.
You look fantastic. So, do you have the same back of the box that Drew and I have?
No.
See,
No.
She got the regular size. We got the family size.
Because I went to Walmart.
Okay. I don't know why you guys got the family size. I'm still looking for somebody who wants to do a cereal exchange program.
Not a bad idea. That's Patreon.
So what is that game? Oh, this is the same thing that was on Oops All Berries.
Mm-hmm.
You can win a Crunchtastic giveaway.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
FYI, Oops All Berries is my favorite of the Captain Crunch.
Really? Well,
brand.
I've got a box I can send you because
This is part of our exchange program.
Yeah, my family wants to get rid of it. All right, so
yes, please.
Everybody,
okay, but if I exchange cereal, it's going to be brand new, guys. I get like a few bowls out of it, and then, well, I have ADHD. I get bored really easy.
Yeah. All right, everybody, let's do our taste test. You already have the milk in there, Aubrey?
No.
I just poured milk.
I almost had to re-pour everything.
Yeah. So, Aubrey, you've turned Drew into a convert.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does
I
milk first
love
now.
it, Drew. I love it. Look at not spilling a drop here. You guys ever need tea service? I do that too.
I love it that Aubrey takes the milk, she pours it from the carton into the pitcher, and then the pitcher into the bowl, and then puts the cereal on top of the milk. All right, here we go. Jeff agrees with me. That is completely the wrong way to do it.
It's wrong. Yeah.
All right, ready? Everybody, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh. That's
very peanut butter.
See, I was gonna say not enough peanut butter.
No, not enough.
Yes, 100%.
Wait, what milk are you using? Is everybody using 2%?
I'm using vanilla almond milk.
I'm using almond milk as well, vanilla.
Oh!
But so Drew, you know that I'm a big fan of Magic Spoon cereal.
So here we go.
Their peanut butter Magic Spoon is unbelievably good.
Not a sponsor, but should be.
it tastes like peanut butter. This tastes like Captain Crunch with just like a, I don't know, like a splash of peanut butter syrup.
You know what it reminds me of? When you made the marshmallow peanut butter sandwiches. That's what it reminds me of a little bit.
Is that
It's
something everybody
it's light
has
on
done?
the peanut butter.
I think her and Elvis Presley were maybe the only people that were eating those. But
What?
Marshmallow?
And peanut butter? Who's not? Wait, you've never eaten marshmallow peanut butter toasted sandwiches?
This sounds amazing.
It is. It is.
I have
If you like marshmallow and you like peanut butter, you would like it.
But toast the bread. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's my thing. Like, I'm a crunchy, obviously. I'm a person who likes crunchy versus mushy. So you got to toast the bread. Okay, and if you want to be bougie about it, if you want to be a bougie grown up, because we are all grown ups here now, and we can be bougie
like to be
about it because
bougie.
we have the money
Mhm.
sometimes.
Mhm.
Get brioche bread
Ooh.
and toast it lightly, and then put marshmallow on one side and your favorite peanut butter on the other. And your eyes will roll back in your head for a minute if you're a true foodie. I'm just telling you, that's how
Nice.
food does to me. If people go out to eat with me, you're just gonna know some weird faces. Just deal with it, because if the food is good, that's the sound and things that happen to my face.
Oh, you have literally changed my Saturday afternoon.
when you're out, is it just like a whole restaurant of like When Harry Met Sally, just a bunch of people going, "I'll have what she's having," kind of thing?
Okay, well, I have to admit there's been a few times when
Yes.
people who had not ordered yet looked over at me like, and then they start looking on the menu.
Yesterday. Oh, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna do a spot. This is a tiny little thing. If you guys have ever been out here to Spring Hill, Nellie's is a very small pizza place. They did not pay me for this, but Nellie's Pizza Place has a double meat stuffed pizza, and
Ooh.
the bread. Okay, I can't eat a lot of carbs, but I'm a huge fan of meat and bread. Zentron, if you're out there, we Brits. I don't know if it's because I was born in England. I don't know, but this is the best pizza around. The best used to be Brooklyn Brothers Pizza, like way towards Nashville. Now Nellie's is my favorite place to go, bar none. I'm not kidding you,
All right.
because Italian. They got the good Italian.
Well,
And when they take the food out, did they say it's a hiding here? Go ahead, Johnny.
so is it a pizza pie? It is a legit pizza pie.
Oh, it's yeah. They got the deep dish. They got the strombolis. They got the parm. They got real cannolis. Oh yeah.
All
I'm a
right, so-
foodie.
And he got country grammar.
You know what? Next Saturday, Aubrey, I will meet you in Spring Hill and put this to the test.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay. Well, depending on the Saturday, I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I will say one more thing before we get back on topic. My grandchild, I'm a grandma, by the way. This Mary Jane is a grandma, and my grandchild, my first one, is going to be 1 year old on Saturday the 28th, and I have a birthday party to go to. after
My
the
birthday's the
podcast.
29th.
Small world. There
Cancer
we go,
season.
Drew. Right?
There we go.
And he is the cutest little shenanigan maker. I'm just going to tell you, his mommy and daddy are music, and I will be excited to be at his birthday. But I will
That's
still be
awesome.
here Saturday morning.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, what's everybody on a scale of 1 to 5 bowls? 1 being the lowest, 5 being the best. What is everyone's assessment of peanut butter Captain Crunch? Go ahead, Drew. You go first.
I'm going to give it 2.5 bowls.
Wow.
I'm not a fan.
Whoa.
I'm not a
Whoa.
fan.
Whoa.
Not a fan. I'm a hard
Jeff?
grader. I'm a hard grader.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it's like if I could do quarter grades, I'm gonna say a 3.25. Like, it's not a fail, it's a 65. You know, if your kid came home with that, you wouldn't be happy, but you'd be like, okay, it's not the worst. I'll eat it again, but I won't buy it anytime soon.
Mm.
All right. Aubrey.
I love peanut butter. And the fact that when I close my eyes, it tastes like a toasted marshmallow peanut butter sandwich gives it 3 points, unfortunately. So I'm gonna give it a solid 6.
Ooh. Out of 5, 6.
Sorry, I always forget. I always want to do 10. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Well, if we're doing it that way, then
Yeah, 4.
Hmm.
I guess.
All right.
It's a 4. It's a
All right.
solid 4. Yeah.
So to me, it just tastes like regular Captain Crunch,
Yeah.
which I love. Captain Crunch is on my top 5.
This
It has
tastes like regular Captain Crunch to you?
Yeah. It just has a very slight peanut butter taste. Mostly, it tastes like the malted corn Captain Crunch, which I love. So Captain Crunch by itself would normally get a 5. But since this is being promoted as something special, it gets knocked down.
Fair enough.
To 4. I'm going to give it 4 bowls out of 5. But it's still delicious.
Oh, wait, so
And
Captain
I'm
Crunch
still going to enjoy it.
original is 5 for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a
But
strong.
what about the berries?
Ooh,
The berries you said was not your thing.
that's a 7 for me.
Wait,
Give it a
Drew
7 out
added.
of
I
5.
thought we couldn't do past 5.
No, I did pass.
Man, breaking all the rules all the time.
No. Well, listen, here's the thing, Aubrey. Aubrey and I went to a podcasting networking event on Wednesday, and she took copious notes on the quote-unquote rules. But here's the thing. Once you know the rules, Drew, you know this saying, rules, like bones, are made to be broken. And so once you know the rules, you can break them all. And I break every rule of broadcasting every Saturday.
Like this.
Yep.
She kept looking at me. She kept, yeah.
People hate this right now.
Yeah.
People hate this. They hate it. Misophonia.
But it's our show.
Wait, I like the crunchy sounds. Wait. Let's hear everybody's crunching.
All right.
Can we do
here we
that?
go.
Can we do
There we
that?
go.
We need
Yep.
we need crunching sounds.
Everybody listening.
This
This is a Patreon tier, by the way. This is a Patreon tier. This,
Wait. Before we do that, hold on. I got to add this
There you go.
for the people who hate that. And then here we go. Everyone,
I'm gonna bite
crunch
my
up.
spoon too.
Here we go.
Okay, we lost 95% of our audience, but we're good. We're good. We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, the 5% we
Or-
kept real weirdos though, right? So
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm a weirdo too.
Speaking of which, we need to acknowledge some of the people in our audience that make this show possible. Our Cereal Box Super Friends, Eli Cash, Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Cherise Collins, Dave Mattingly, Valerie Davidson, Jeremy Bell, Angelina Vaquera Link, George Soroy, Larry Amiet, Greg and Crystal Jones, Clyde Hall, Chris Vaglio, Dave Manginelli, and Dennis Posey. And you too can be a sponsor and have your name in lights at patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. We also need to thank Dr. Malcolm's Body Bags. This is our last week with them. They have surpassed their goal, surpassed their Kickstarter goal by almost, I want to say almost 300%, Drew. I don't know if you've been watching it, but for those of you who are not watching and just listening, they basically took the Mighty Men and Monster Maker and made it 3D in action figure form. It's super cool. We'll see more about that in just a moment. And we do have tons and tons and tons of audience comments. So we're going to get to that right now before we dive into Spider-Man 94. Dave Mattingly is with us, and he says, back when Disney Plus first came out, my first action was to binge the entire Spider-Man 94 series. And you guys, right off the bat, I'm going to leave you hanging on a cliffhanger here while we do these audience comments. I don't like this series at all.
Oh,
Dave Mattingly says,
Get out of this. Let's get out of here. Let's
We're
get out of
shaking.
here.
Johnny drops the bomb and walks
I
away.
wanted to cut so much, Johnny, but I know it's a family-friendly show.
and
We're
he
not
says,
friends
this
anymore,
is the
Johnny. We're
first,
not friends anymore.
this is the first cartoon to use the Spider-Verse with a better Madam Web than in the comics. Okay. Skylar Productions, Willow Skylar, our other regular co-host who is unfortunately having to work on Saturday mornings, so she hasn't been with us for several weeks. I seriously need to go back to closing on Saturdays. I wish I was there for this conversation. We wish you were here, Willow. And Dave Mattingly says, we miss you, Willow. We all miss you. And Dave Mattingly says, Johnny, your new theme song is Still Boss. Yeah, I'm really proud of it. I wrote it, and then Sam Swimerton performed it. I love it. So Dave Mattingly says your guest drew me in.
This guy, he's a guy. He's a guy. I like him.
Always Dave with the one-liners here.
Yeah,
So good.
and
Him and Spidey have that in common.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, they do. And Willow says, "Canada, eh?" Yep, she's in Winnipeg. And Dave Mattingly says, "Oh la la, Captain Crunch. Oh, Captain, my Captain."
That's pretty good, Johnny.
Was it really?
That's pretty good.
Maybe I'll do the whole episode like that.
No,
Yeah.
no, I didn't say it was that good.
Yeah, oui. Windsor is on. She's in Manitoba, not Windsor. I don't know why I said Windsor.
Hey,
Manitoba.
As a Canadian, I'm happy that you guys even know that we're up here sometimes.
Oh,
No, not to. I don't want to throw shade on anyone, but I'm in Toronto and we've been driving to say Boston, which is about a 12-hour drive for us, and we stopped in Utica, New York, which is about 2 hours from the Canadian border.
Mhm.
And the guy's like, "Oh wow, do you all speak French up there?" And I was like, "Have you not ever been?" And he's like, "Oh no, I've been to Niagara Falls, but never Canada." I'm like, "You didn't go to the good side of the falls?" And he's like, "Nope." And I was like, "But it's right there. Like you could have just." But
You
whatever.
don't even need a passport.
No, yeah, at that point, yeah, this was years ago. He could have just crossed. So, but yeah, no. So, thank you for acknowledging Canada, and hello to Winnipeg. Willow, it was, yeah. Skylar, nice to meet you.
Yes. And Dave Mattingly says, "I've got a new Cheerios flavor today, peach mango Cheerios."
No.
All right.
No,
So wait, can I be honest with you?
3 no's before Johnny even
No.
said anything else.
hard out.
No.
Nope.
Well, listen, it was a hard pass on this too, because I don't like peaches, I don't like mangoes, and I don't like anything that is flavored like peaches or mangoes. However, I saw a recent review on this series or on this cereal on the mango peach Cheerios, and the reviewer said it just tastes like a generic fruit flavor. So I might try it. I might try it.
No, thank you. I'm not a fan of the peach flavor. Anything like I'll eat a peach. I love a peach. That's another Patreon tier. But
Razor blades in your mouth. No,
we're going blue.
Drew. I have a fever. I have a weakness. I'm right there with you. You know, people ask me why I watch professional wrestling. I'm like, have you seen those ladies?
Mhm.
That's all I'm
They're getting
gonna say.
better. They're getting better. They're evolving.
And Dave Mattingly says,
Oh,
Captain Crunch, the cereal that eats you.
that's what I was laughing about, like a maniac. Yep. Yep.
Sure.
I read that and I lost it. Dave, that was great. I couldn't breathe for like a whole minute.
Willow Schuyler says, face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. All right,
Oh!
Aubrey,
Oh,
you got to give us this line.
face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot.
Solid read.
Well done.
Solid read. Solid
That
read.
will be a clip. And Dave Mattingly says, Aubrey, I think I'm in love. Let's face it, I just hit the jackpot. I think our fans have. I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying this is your
It's pretty solid.
best. This
Yeah.
is your best cosplay that I've seen you do.
Aw,
Beautiful. And J Costume, he says,
thank
Marissa
you.
Henderson is joining us. Good
Oh.
morning. Love your hair, Aubrey.
Thank you. It's not real.
And Dave Mattingly is getting a little bit randy. He says, Aubrey's outfit is making my spider sense tingle.
Well, you know, Peter is repeatedly late. I do have an opening. So
Again, another Patreon tier. We're going up there. We got stuff to sell, Johnny.
No, we do Patreon, not only.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, I
trying to
mean,
be, and
I've
so
been
just-
told they do voice work on all platforms. Jokes. We have jokes this morning.
Anyway, we need to talk about our main topic. We need to jump into Saturday morning 102. And I know what you're wondering. Everyone's wondering, wait a minute, Johnny, how is Spider-Man the animated series Saturday morning 102? And here's the reason. Spider-Man, this Spider-Man came out in 1994. Okay. And so when we did our Saturday morning 101 series, it was specifically about the Saturday mornings of like my youth, you know, what was on in the 70s and 80s that really informed our youth. And so this in the 90s stuff, the later stuff in the 90s and 2000s were not a part of that Saturday morning 101 series. So now they are Saturday morning 102. So this is like my kids' generation. Drew, you are at the kind of the middle part of that generation with this stuff. So let's do Tale of the Tape. Spider-Man, also known as Spider-Man the Animated Series, is an animated superhero television series based on the Marvel Comics superhero of the same name. If you didn't know, the series aired on the Fox Kids Network from November 19th, 1994 to January 31st, 1998 for a total of 5 seasons comprising only 65 episodes. That was a shock to me, by the way. It ran reruns on Toon Disney's Jetix block, which I had never heard of, and on Disney XD. And the series was produced by Marvel Films and animated by Tokyo Movie Shinsha. And one of the things that a lot of people, especially you, Aubrey, may have noticed is there are some familiar voice actor names in this list, like Linda Gary, Ed Asner, Hank Azaria, Mark Hamill, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., which may not sound familiar right off the bat, but he's done a ton of work. And as the titular hero, Christopher Daniel Barnes. And you may recognize Christopher Daniel Barnes from playing Greg in the Brady Bunch movies. And he was the voice of Prince Eric in the greatest animated movie of all time, The Little Mermaid.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's bold.
So the series finale was the first to introduce the Spider-Verse storyline, also known as the Spider-Man multiverse, which later inspired similar narratives in various Spider-Man comics, cartoons, and films in the early 21st century. And the series follows Peter Parker, a college student at Empire State University, ESU, who struggles to balance his responsibilities as the costume hero Spider-Man with the problems of his personal life. And in addition to fighting crime, Peter must navigate romantic affections for love interests. This is a long list. Felicia Hardy, Mary
A
Jane
very
Watson,
long list, Peter.
Betty Ross, and others, and maintain his friendship with Harry Osborn and focus on his academic performance as Dr. Kurt Connor's student. And of course, he's supporting Uncle May after the death, or Aunt May after the death of Uncle Ben, working as a freelance photographer at the Daily Bugle. Now, I'm going to go through some of these frames just as kind of a primer. So this is Spider-Man. For those of you who don't know Spider-Man, and if you're not watching, you can't see this. Peter Parker, voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes. Peter and Mary Jane. And can we just appreciate how perfect Aubrey's Mary Jane really is? Look at that.
Mary Jane!
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
And here's another shot of Mary Jane in some type of
So
outfit.
this is when Mary Jane was
Yeah.
taken over by I forgot his name, Mardo
Baron,
and Baron Mordo.
Baron
Mhm.
Mordo, yeah.
Yeah, the
What's
Baron.
called? She became like a thief, and then Peter was coming to save her again from that nonsense. She was seeing I think not Murdo, what's his guy with the rings and from Iron Man,
The Mandarin.
the Mandarin. He was making her see people as her father and stuff like that. It was a interesting storyline that merged a lot of different comic book properties together. But that's the first introduction of Iron Man.
Okay. And then we had classic Spider-Man villains like Green Goblin, Kraven the Hunter. And by the way, Kraven is my favorite Marvel Universe villain, favorite Spider-Man villain.
Craven's story is so interesting.
It's great.
Does anyone know who this woman is? Is this Betty Brant? Is this the soon-to-be Madam Web?
That's Felicia's mother.
Yeah, that would be Miss Hardy. But do you know who did her voice, Drew?
No.
It was the Golden Girl, Rue McClanahan.
Yes.
Rue McClanahan
Yes.
did that? No
Yep.
way.
Yeah, don't look it up. I got a whole bunch of them that are amazing voiceovers.
That's fantastic. And then here's another one of Spider-Man's love interests.
It's
Felicia
two
Hardy,
at
the
the,
Black
it's two at the same time because it's Felicia Hardy and his Black Cat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And was he also having a thing with Mrs. Hardy?
No.
No, no,
Because-
thank goodness. Thank goodness Peter didn't go that far.
Well, wait, what do you mean that far? Love has no age. What are you talking about,
No, it
Aubrey?
wasn't about that. It was just about how many in his back pocket there.
And really, he wasn't trying to pick these girls up. They just loved him. And if there's a I was perusing Facebook, and there's a panel where I guess the Black Cat and Mary Jane have to save Peter Parker from this guy who's trying to get his powers, and in the end of the panel, they go and they find whatever they need to get for the guy, and the guy, whatever the cape consumes him. He's like, they're both like, how does Peter Parker get these hot girls? And it was both of them talking to each other, and nobody knows. It's like he's never like trying to woo them or anything like that. The only person he really like loves is Mary Jane.
Okay, so in the comics, there's Mary Jane, there's Betty Ross, is it Betty Ross? Betty Grant.
Betty Grant. Yeah, you're right.
Betty. There's Gwen Stacy who dies. There's Mary Jane, Felicia Hardy, Betty, Gwen Stacy. Then Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and he have a thing. She is like head over heels in love with him. He dated Jessica Jones.
Yep.
And he dated Kitty Pryde of the X-Men. And who knows how many other, side chicks he's got.
Besides Felicia Hardy? I mean,
Yes.
that was a big one in this one. Like,
yeah,
he chased Felicia in this cartoon, this particular in '94. Like quite often, off and on.
And in that first season, he seems to go on a date with one girl in one episode, and then the next season be on a date with a completely other girl.
Yep.
Like
and didn't even want to go on a date with Mary Jane. Thank you. Like, I was the annoying neighbor that his grandmother or his aunt was pushing on him. Like, oh, okay, I'll Aunt May, I'll go on a date with her. Okay.
And then what did he say when he met her at the door?
He was so reluctant until he saw her, and then he was like, "Okay."
What did she say, Aubrey, when he met her at the door? What did she say? Do you remember?
I don't. I'm not gonna lie. I
with
watched
her
it
hands on her
twice.
hips, she says, "Face it, Jack. Face it, Tiger."
You just won the jackpot.
Oh,
You
the one I
just
just
hit
said.
the
Okay. I was like, he's asking me, so it must not have been that line. So what's the line? I don't know. I'm gonna admit I don't.
All right.
Okay.
Aubrey.
That
So,
was a latitude, though. I have.
Hold
to
on.
admit.
Here's your geek card. I'm pulling it.
Ooh.
What?
Ooh.
What?
Was that
I'm
harsh?
interested
That
how
was
he
a
had it
little
over
harsh.
there.
No, that's impossible. My card's in my back pocket. It's okay.
And a fabulous back pocket is. Anyway, I just broke Aubrey. All right. So in a minute, we're going to talk about the Spider-Verse episode, but this on the left side of the frame is a very, very important story.
Okay.
It was an adaptation of, in my opinion, the greatest Spider-Man story ever written. And I'm going to say top 3 single comic book stories ever written. It is an adaptation of a story called The Kid Who Collects Spider-Man. And it was a story about a boy who was dying of leukemia. And he collected newspaper clippings and articles of Spider-Man, had them all over his room. And Spider-Man hears about it, comes to visit him. And the boy he only wants to know one thing. His dying wish, his dying knowledge is, what's your real name? And he, takes off his mask and says, I'm Peter Parker. And in this adaptation, it was a girl, but brilliant comic book story written by Roger Stern. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it. They did adapt the black costume story arc, which would later become who would this character become?
Venom.
Yeah, it was not a trick question.
No, I'm like, I was gonna say Tom Hardy, but I was like, okay, Venom.
And Drew, one of your favorite episodes, the Spider-Man,
This is from this was like the Amazing Spider-Man.
I was gonna say that wasn't the same one, was it?
Well, it came up in my search, so what you see in the internet must be true.
100%.
And then from the final season, this is a frame from the Secret Wars. And Drew, this artwork is absolutely awful. I know it's an in-between frame, but what's going on with Captain America's nose? Did someone punch him in the face before they took this picture? Because his face is completely smashed in. Wait, and
when Johnny's like, that artwork was awful.
It was. Am I wrong?
He didn't win any awards. It wasn't a great comic.
I didn't. I expect that, but yeah, it's pretty bad.
All right,
and then the frame rate of some things, if you really watch the show, you can see that they reuse a lot of the frames, and then like it's a whole thing. It's like,
well, okay, reusing frames is not anything new for animation. Filmation made it like their signature. Reusing stock animation, it was such a trademark of Filmation that it's almost become not a meme, but like a badge of honor. Yeah, we reuse that. Disney does the same thing in their movies. That's not a dish on this show for me. Here's why I never liked this show.
He put the bowl down.
So
oh, no.
So this came out in 94, right? In 1990, Batman the Animated Series debuted, and it changed Saturday morning cartoons forever, because all of a sudden we got a darker tone. Even though the animation style and the face style, the character models were very Saturday morning friendly, the themes and the tones were much darker. The voice acting was at a higher level. And this is a case where Marvel Animation was trying to catch up with DC. Kind of like how DC movies are trying to catch up with Marvel. Marvel was trying to catch up with DC. Marvel had ruled the cartoon airwaves with G.I. Joe, Transformers, Gem, with Defenders of the Earth, with Pandemonium. That's a deep cut. Jeff, do you remember Pandemonium?
I don't think I do. No.
Yeah.
That's a real deep cut.
Yeah. But Marvel had the monopoly on animation for a little while. And then along comes Batman Animated Series. And all of a sudden, I feel like Marvel's scrambling, like, how can we compete with that? Oh, let's create Spider-Man, the animated series, and we will use similar character models, and we will write more, a little bit older geared stories. And but we're not going to focus much on original content. We're going to lift it directly from the stories that have already been told through the comics. And we talked about this with X-Men 97. I had just read these stories. These stories had just been in comics a few years earlier. I had just read them. I didn't need to see them adapted and with cherry-picked adaptations for Saturday morning. And so that was the second strike, is that they're trying to catch up. They're lifting material directly from the comics. And I know a lot of comic book fans think that is like a prerequisite that they do that. But I like to see stuff that's original. I don't need to see the same story hashed over and over. That's why I loved Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. There were Easter eggs to the comics and to like team ups and the interconnected universe, but every story on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was wholly original. And even some of the characters were made just for that show, like Firestar, Captain Video. And so anyway, and then I got to slam the voice acting on this. In particular, Christopher Daniel Barnes, every line he spoke sound like it was some kind of tragic situation that was like the most gravity-filled situation. I don't know how to explain it. It was so melodramatic. And this whole series felt that way to me. Like they were trying to make it super, super serious and everything was a crisis. And I was just like, can we not just have fun?
No, we can't have fun. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
First and foremost, he's a college kid in New York City. He's living with his grandma. He's a photographer that only makes when he's getting paid. I've never seen Peter Parker get a check. Maybe once.
No. He did. He helped Aunt May with a bill. In one of the first episodes of the season, remember? He got like $1,000 for a picture, for one picture of the lizard guy, which I forgot the name of, which I should feel really bad about.
And then Joan Jameson did lend him his van for the wedding. That's it. So he's struggling with that. He's struggling. He's juggling all these girls he's going on a date with. He don't got no money. He just paid Aunt May. You don't got no extra money.
We know he's got no money because he's wearing the same T-shirt for the first season
and over and over. Okay, but so does Mary Jane.
Yes,
but at least
he ever see her change clothes.
I think he calls it out too.
Changing clothes females in 39 episodes of any show except for in the 70s.
And so he's struggling, man. He needs that gravitas to his voice. He needs that to show all the different. My favorite line, and I said it in the beginning, was when he was grieving and he saw Mary Jane, the so-called Mary Jane, turn into a vapor, and he just screamed out, "Mary Jane!" I loved that part. It was so cheesy.
So for a moment, he became Darth Vader at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
No! But I don't want to get on that bandwagon because people are going to hate me even more because my opinions of that movie is something else. Yes. We could talk about that all day.
Oh, what happened to Drew?
No.
Drew.
Johnny.
Drew.
Warning. You will randomly disappear when you do not agree with Johnny.
This is that toxic fandom that Johnny's talking about. Called out.
Definition of toxic does not mean whatever you don't like.
But yeah, I feel you, Johnny. I feel you on some of the originality aspects of that. And again, this is close to my heart because, like I said in the beginning, this is the reason why I became a Marvel fan. On Fox, only had a couple of channels. I had basic channels. I had WB, Fox, and Channel 3, which is like, I don't know, TBS, not TBS, is like some news channel. And this used to run on I used to be in front of the TV screen either Thursdays or Saturdays watching this over and over again. And this really got me enthralled into comics, which then got me enthralled into anime, which is now like my whole thing, my whole personality. So I may be too far into this to see the.
I did not know that.
Exactly. So Spider-Man, and they do have a Spider-Man anime too, but that's another thing. But I love this for what it was. It was a real reconciling of a lot of different arcs into one. And from episode 1 to the last episode, when Madam Web takes Peter Parker away, and we never see him actually see Mary Jane again. It was amazing to me. So I give it 100 bowls. How many bowls can we give it? I don't care. Go ahead, whatever.
We don't do bowls for the. We don't rate the comics.
Oh sure we do.
Oh, we do.
Oh sure.
Okay.
I give this like 2 bowls and a spoon.
Oh.
Because look, I grew up watching the 1968 Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can, spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. I have the whole song memorized still to this day. Can you
memorize this song from this?
Spider-Man, radioactive Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Did you see who actually plays the guitar in the song though? Did you read that?
I don't think I did.
Whoa, I didn't even get that. Whoa, now I need to know.
It's one of the guys from Aerosmith.
What?
I'm sorry,
what?
The name
That's
is
why I love the intro music. Oh my god, Aerosmith was my favorite band when I was a high schooler. Oh my god, I love. Now I know. Thank you, Jeff. Yep. Now the connection is made in my brain. Why I love the intro to this music so much.
That's why I used to love the droids intro.
Oh my gosh.
By the other guy from the police.
Yeah. Trouble again. Yeah.
And it sounds like he's doing a very good Sting impersonation when he sings it too, right?
Well, so we covered this a couple of weeks ago, Jeff, but did you know that Droids theme song was actually the demo that he recorded in his living room on a 4-track?
Holy crap.
That he sent to the studio, hey, this is what I'm thinking this theme song should be. And they were like, oh, this is perfect. And they just used this demo. Yeah.
Yeah, it is perfect. Yeah, it's one of the best ones ever, I think.
Okay, so I have to say really quick, Drew, I agree with you. I don't agree with Johnny, which I don't mind not agreeing with him. He knows that. I don't care if it's cereal, comics, kaiju, wrestling, or whatever it is, which I do have opinions on wrestling, but that's for a later date. I liked this Spider-Man. I didn't watch it all the way through, and it's another one that I'm going to have to watch all the way through again from childhood, but teen years, I should say. It was like catching it in and out of the door. You know, my siblings saw more of this than I did because I was 14 when this came out. So I was just starting to go to school dances and not really interested as much in cartoons and comic books. And that faded away for a little while for me. And yeah, I didn't go to many dances, but I did do a lot of costuming at a young age. But I will say that I didn't remember Mary Jane being so sassy. She's a sassy pants. For some reason, over the years, I just remember the girl next door part. And then the like, hey, Tiger. Wow. And she's in a runway and this little spicy outfit and a whole bunch of other things. Like, I'm reintroduced to this character over again.
Wait, well, you need to read the comics where there's a whole fight when she poses nude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
yeah,
Mary Jane poses nude at the college, right? At the college?
When are you doing that cosplay?
What?
No,
again, another Patreon tier.
Yeah.
No. Mary Jane, and I'm 5'2". Mary Jane's like a tall, lanky. I don't think I could ever do that.
When Roger Stern was at the end of his Amazing Spider-Man run, Mary Jane got cast in a movie where she had to do a sex scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a big thing. It was, and then they got married, and then Mephisto made the marriage never have happened.
Yep.
And now in the comics, Mary Jane is married to somebody else and has 2 kids, and we don't know why or how that happened or when that happened. It just all of a sudden, oh,
Boom.
yeah. So there's a lot of, and now Mary Jane is her own superhero called
Yep.
Jackpot, and she's
Wait.
got good luck
Yes.
powers.
Wait, I didn't
Yes.
even know this.
I know.
Yes.
Oh
It's
my
a
God.
weird. It's a weird spinoff, honestly.
Wait,
It's
okay,
like
so I'm gonna have jackpot, huh? That's
Yeah.
great. I
Yeah.
need some good luck. I might have
So,
to start figuring
Jeff-
out if I can do that one.
Jeff, you are our special guest. Share your thoughts about Spider-Man 94. Was there a specific arc that really spoke to you?
So I will say I was probably a little too old when this came out, and I'm probably in more in your camp, Johnny, in the sense that I was
Okay.
about 18 when this came out, so I was much more familiar with the 60s Spider-Man, and that's the Spider-Man I grew up with. By the time this one came out, I was already in college, so I probably caught it here and there, but I wasn't going out of my way to watch it.
Right.
And then I think when I had kids, it was probably on reruns on whatever Canadian, like YTV or something like that. So I would watch it here and there, and I was probably pretty excited about it because it's fun to see, like, especially the story we're talking about with the Secret Wars, like getting all these heroes together. Kind of reminded me of Spider-Man and his amazing friends, like that whole kind of thing. But watching it now as an adult, it just makes me angry. Like, there's so many things that are just stupid. Like, I'm not even going to pick on the animation, but like, if you want to pick on the animation, like maybe you don't have to get George Takei to do a voice in the episode. You just get someone who's a little cheaper and maybe get better animation. Like, there's so many people, like, do we really, I love Mark Hamill, but does Mark Hamill have to be the Hobgoblin voice? Like, it was fun, but a lot of people can do the Hobgoblin. So maybe we don't do that. And then just the one thing, there's a bunch of things I pulled out while I was watching some of the episodes, and just that. So this whole Secret War, and they all meet up, and like nobody knows each other. Like the Fantastic Four have no idea who Captain America is or Iron Man, and they're like, "Wait, who are you?" And they're all pointing fingers at each other, and it's like, have you guys not like crossed paths before? And also,
Now, was that something? Do you know if that was something that like happened when they were transferred there? Like, that's what I tried to take away from it. You don't think so?
I know because when they're being transferred back, all their memories are wiped.
Yes.
But on the way there, because that's why he brings in Black Cat, because she knows how he thinks and they've worked together before. And I was like, really, the best person you can bring in is your one extra person. Is no offense to Black Cat, but I could think of some better heavy hitters.
Hey, he's on an island. He's on a strange planet by himself. He doesn't want Mary Jane to be there. He needs something special,
Yeah.
Well, and okay, so let's talk about this. So this is that part of that Secret Wars arc. And okay, I gave everyone homework, and Johnny failed the assignment.
Oh no.
Because I started watching this arc and I made it all of 10 minutes. Listen, when they decided to make Madam Web a cosmic entity on par with the Beyonder, I was out. I'm like, I can't do this.
Wow.
The animation was horrible. And I mean, I kind of fast forwarded to it to see who he picked, but the original Marvel Secret Wars story was so iconic, so classic. It came out when I was in junior high, and it was just, I can't describe how good it was. All of these heroes from the different teams being pulled together to fight to the death for the Beyonder's amusement. But here he's got to test humanity or whatever it was, and test Spider-Man to make sure that he was going to be the leader that he needed. Well, Spider-Man's never been a leader. Spider-Man is not a leader. He is a follower. He is a solo artist. He is never, ever, ever going to be a leader, and he never was. And so that whole premise was just turned me off to begin with. And then Madam Web being some cosmic. I was just like, please help me. Click. Now, I will tell you that I have watched the Spider-Man versus Daredevil arc ad nauseum because my son was obsessed with that story when he was real little. We must have had it playing on repeat for 3 years. So
if you get a chance, Johnny, you said you like Craven, run through the Craven arc. It's really good. It's really good.
See, I'm questioning your judgment, Drew, because you've raved about this series over and over and over.
This is you know what? I take the criticism and I take your apprehensiveness, but it's good. Trust me. But honestly, don't watch it. We don't need you.
Okay, wait.
We
Jeff,
don't need
I have a
you.
question. Jeff, so what you watched it and you remember like bits and pieces from when your kids were younger and like phasing in and out as you were older, maybe bits and pieces. From the music to the voice actors to the animation, I know you already said you didn't like that. What is your favorite part about this particular Spider-Man series?
Honestly, looking at it now and like based on what my podcast is about, it is a super deep cast of voice actors in it. Like just even from this little arc that we had, like, did anyone recognize Madam Web's voice? Not that you would recognize her voice, but if you saw her name, it's Stan Lee's wife did the voice of Madam Web. The Beyonder is an actor named Earl Bowen, who you would know from like the Terminator movies as the psychiatrist.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And then one of my favorite ones was the Lizard, who's in it throughout the whole series, is this older actor named Joseph Campanella.
Yeah.
Who, as a Canadian, I know him from this TV show called Science International, or What Will They Think of Next? And it was this old
voice,
and that's him. And then you get Tony Stark as Robert Hayes from the Airplane movies. Nichelle Nichols is Miriam, the vampire woman from she's from Star Trek, and it's like, why is she in this for 3 lines?
Yeah, but
like it seems so unnecessary.
So good.
And then my favorite one was the voice of the Kingpin that you get in that Black Cat flashback, which I did not know. Is Black Cat really Captain America level ability?
No,
because in this cartoon, it is very. They kind of bump her up that she's got the same super soldier formula that Captain America had.
They didn't insinuate it. They said it. They outright said. He said it to her. He said, "You're just like me."
Yeah, and I was like, "Really?" I thought she's just a little lucky and like good at gymnastics.
No, she is
serum.
No, but she is Marvel's ripoff of Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
She's an Olympic level athlete, but she does have bad luck powers.
Yes.
She causes her opponents to have bad luck.
Yeah, like Domino.
But in this cartoon, she is buff. Like she is as big as Cap is. But
she's huge. She's a huge woman. She's
so it's no wonder there was a connection between those two where look at her. She looks like she's about to be a power top on Spider-Man.
Wait a second, there's got to be artwork out there about that. Sorry, that was too adult. Maybe I'm sorry.
Go to photo 3, Johnny. Photo 3. That's the.
Like no wonder Peter Parker's always so worried about everything. Like this is not what he thought what he had in mind.
Yeah, Mary Jane says she can have him if she needs. If that's what she needs, if that's what he needs. Mary Jane's too small.
Yeah. She has the leather on and the mask on. She's good to go.
Let me tell you something.
I have a white wig.
Drew, can we say Jade Cargill as Black Cat?
Ooh, come on now. Come on now. Yes.
I mean,
yes, Lord.
And look, did anyone else notice, Jeff, that Peter Parker's skin tone changes all throughout this series?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that was one of the things I hated. I didn't know if we were going to get to what we hated and liked, but that I was like, what?
It is the city. It is the city, though. So
So he was in the wintertime, there's not a lot of sun,
little pasty.
the city
all that
exactly,
reflecting light in the summer, he's just tan.
But then how did
exactly.
how did he get so tan?
Yeah.
His
eyes look freaky.
He's a person of color right here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
You know what?
Are they
Embrace
getting
all the
prepped
colors.
Look, I am. But
Oh my goodness.
I mean, is he doing the Michael Jackson skin bleaching? Are they getting ready for Miles Morales? What's going on here?
Yes, it was prepping. It's okay. It's okay. It was foreshadowing.
It was the summer.
They just
It was
didn't
the
know.
summertime, and he was flying in the. He was swinging around the city, so he got a lot of sun that day.
Well, okay, does he wear one of those suits that like lets the ultraviolet rays come through? You've seen those swimsuits, right? Is that what he's wearing? So
Yeah,
he can
yeah,
tan
yeah.
even though he's fully clothed.
It would be crazy if his face was very tan and his body was still pale. I would love that.
Well, see, this frame kind of puts that theory to shame because I mean he's all uniform there, but anyway.
Oh my goodness.
We've broken Aubrey. She can't even speak.
The pre-Miles Morales.
Yeah, and so you know what? Maybe he has spider chameleon powers, and he just changes colors for his environment. But we have the color changing Spider-Man dating the cougar. I mean, there's some.
I have so many things to say about
Johnny.
that.
I gotta breathe.
I have so many
Breathe,
things.
okay?
I'm trying not to.
Look, if Felicia Hardy's mom looked like that, I'm just saying.
Oh no, guys. Okay, for the audience who doesn't know, if you can't see
with
this
mom and
picture,
daughter?
that looks like Johnny's wife. So I figured out why.
What?
Hello, Mrs. Johnny Beyond. I know why he likes this. I know why he likes it. It looks just like his wife. It looks just like Johnny's wife. I'm
He's
not
like,
lying, guys. I've seen her in person. She rocks some boots.
Mrs. Beyond.
That's where it comes from.
Okay.
Caught you.
All right.
We got you.
All right. So,
We know now.
Checkmate.
Jeff, any other? We kind of interrupted your.
No,
train of
don't worry.
thought there.
No, I was just gonna say my last other deep cut for the voiceovers in that particular arc was the voice of the Kingpin, and it was a guy by the name of Roscoe Lee Brown, who I was like,
yes.
And I looked at his picture and I was like, I recognize this guy. I couldn't really tell from where, but then when I looked at it, he's the narrator from the Babe movies. So like,
That's
the
a
guy,
great
the
voice.
storyteller who,
Yeah.
and he's this older gentleman that was like a big TV actor in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But yeah, great voice work throughout it. Like, okay, I don't want to say great voice work, but great voice cast. Everything from like
already, Jeff.
Alfonso Ribeiro to James Avery to like Nell Carter. And I know you guys did a show on Reboot a while ago. Tony J, who was Megabyte was the voice of Baron Mordo in Spider-Man. So you get like people everywhere. So as a kid, I would not have appreciated that.
No.
Now I look back and go, oh, that's really cool that, you had, John Vernon from Animal House doing the voice of Doctor Strange.
I know.
So, yeah. So really cool stuff there. As far as the show goes, not so cool.
Yeah, but see the
Cut me
depth
deep,
of the
Jeff. You
voice
cut me
acting.
deep.
The depth of the voice acting does
what I did there?
explain the shortcuts in the animation. The budget was all spent on the voice cast.
Yep.
And so if that's the case, maybe this would be better as an audio drama than an animated series.
Yeah.
Ooh, which
That would be
means,
fun.
yeah, they could use it as both, and you wouldn't lose.
No.
No.
I don't agree. About that, Johnny.
And honestly, you could have probably had Hank Azaria do 90% of the voices himself.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he was already on
mean,
doing Eddie Brock, so
that's
why
I
not
mean,
get
that's
him to
true.
do
That's
everything?
true. That's
right?
not wrong.
That
Well,
I
so-
agree.
So, Drew, I know one of your favorite arcs is the multiverse Spider-Man arc. That was the finale, right?
Yes.
The last story arc,
Yep.
which introduces us to the Spider-Verse, the multiverse of Spider-Man. But that Secret Wars arc, is considered by some people in pop culture to be the start of the contemporary MCU, and I say hogwash. The contemporary MCU was introduced in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. That's the show that introduced, and then the in-between time, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and the MCU animated series, we had the multiverse through the Incredible Hulk TV movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, neat idea, nerd culture or nerdist, but yeah, no, it happened before this.
Johnny,
But
you know what? Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say this story arc reminded me more of a different comic book series from Marvel. It reminded me much more of the 80s Contest of Champions.
Yes.
Where they just like pick random people and you're going to fight together, you know, just for kind of his amusement, right? It was the Grandmaster and the Collector, I believe, in the comics.
Do you think that was a fan that may have like suggested that as like a shout out to that in the comics?
I mean, it's one of my favorite like little 4 series, you know, that means absolutely nothing.
3 issues.
Is it 3 issues? Yeah. It's just fun to see like Wolverine fight the Black Panther or Sasquatch to fight that Japanese superhero that can multiply into 1,000 different people that you never ever see again.
Daredevil versus Iron Fist.
Oh my gosh, yes. Such a good one.
Deep cut, Jeff. Later on in Daredevil comics, Danny Rand would become Daredevil while Matt Murdock was in prison. But their first meeting, their first fight was in Contest of Champions.
Which is so weird because both those guys like work in New York City. Like you're telling me they didn't run into each other, like, you know, responding to the same like fire or something like that. Like, you know, one's in Hell's Kitchen, one's in, I'm not sure where the Heroes for Hire worked out of, but they should have seen each other.
Harlem. Well, if you've ever been to New York, Harlem and Hell's Kitchen are so, I mean, they're like two completely different planets.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
like that's 125th to like 165th, and Hell's Kitchen is like in the 20s. It's like all the way down by the Lower East Side,
lower Manhattan. But you know, to that point, that same year that Contest of Champions came out, Marvel 2-in-1 annual, I want to say 8 came out, and it was Spider-Man, Moon Knight, Power Man, Iron Fist, and Daredevil versus Kilgrave, the Purple Man. And that was like the first street level hero team up. Same year as Contest of Champions. For those of you who are like, what are Jeff and Johnny going off about? Contest of Champions was the first Marvel Comics miniseries. It was the first official miniseries of any comic book company, 3 issues, and it told this silly story about the Grandmaster and the Collector who abducted all of these heroes from Earth and put them in an arena, and they made them form these disparate teams to go find the 4 quarters of the golden orb. And whatever team could collect all 4 quarters would win. It was stupid, and it was awesome.
Yep.
Written by Chris Claremont, John Byrne, John Romita Jr., David Michelini. It was awesome. I loved every minute of it.
I'm right
Turned
there
me
with
into
you,
a comic book fan.
Yep. That was one of the big ones for me to see those guys come together. Like I think the Thing fought Vanguard, the Russian superhero with like the hammer and the sickle, and it was fun to see all those people together.
Yeah. So Corey Flood has an interesting comment. He says Johnny needs to explain that MCU theory again. So there are some pop culture commentators online that maintain that the Secret Wars arc of Spider-Man the animated series established the contemporary MCU. You're among them, Drew. And there's a case to be made for that. However, I go back to 1984 with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, in particular, the episode 7 Little Superheroes. And 7 Little Superheroes was a very similar story to this Secret Wars arc. The Chameleon invites 7 superheroes that he is like, the enemy of, to come to a private island for a some kind of party dinner thing, and they accept, but it's a trap. And he's going to kill them one by one. 7 little superheroes all in a row. And it was the first time in animation that we saw separate IPs from Marvel come together. Now, Corey might be thinking, but Johnny, in the 60s, we had the Avengers cartoon series that did happen. But those cartoon series from the 1960s, you had Submariner, they did Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. You've heard the Captain America theme song. When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all evil among him has to stop and yield. You've heard that theme song, right? Drew.
No.
Well, they did an episode of Captain America where the very first episode of Captain America, the Avengers find him in the ice. And so you had the Avengers coming together in that episode. But that was not the MCU, that was the Avengers. So it's not until 1982, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, 7 Little Superheroes, that I feel like the MCU was actually officially launched in screen form. In comics, it had been done over and over and over. But I'm talking about on the screen. And then
Dave Manley has a comment that reveals a little bit of my feelings and sentiments.
He says 7 Little Superheroes was a single episode. Spider-Man 94 had an entire season arc. This is the real MCU. Okay, Dave, I'm going to yield that point. However, after 7 Little Superheroes, we continue to see additional heroes appear. The Hulk, Captain America reappears, Black Knight, Thor. It starts a trend. The X-Men, 2 episodes with the X-Men in the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which was a soft door or backdoor pilot for X-Men, Pride of the X-Men movie, which was supposed to be a pilot for a series. That all came out of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. So that's my argument.
X-Men were in Spider-Man 94 too, for a couple episodes.
I know, but they were in Amazing Friends first.
But they were at Spider-Man 94 better. About that. About that.
I don't know. Wolverine was actually useful in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Actually useful.
Yeah, but see, we got to see other characters in 94 other than, Wolverine, who was your guy's mainstay. We actually got to see, like Beast actually be intelligent and none of that nonsense you guys were doing in mushroom culture.
And the Beast got beat up a lot. Well, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, we saw the giant size X-Men. Cyclops, Storm, Wolverine, Thunderbird, Colossus, Nightcrawler. I mean, they were all there.
We also saw in 94, in that same arc, when somebody actually realized, hey, I don't need to hold back myself from being who I am. I can use my powers and be this person, even though there was a hater of mutants. So we saw somebody change their humanity during an episode of Spider-Man 94, which they did a lot, because you know what? 94 had a lot of different stories. Their stories were amazing.
Corey Flood says Johnny was looking for a reason to sing that theme song, and he's not wrong.
Uh-oh.
Both of them, Spider-Man 68 and Captain America. When Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Oh, so that's why they had that in the movie.
Well, no. So in the movie, it was the Star-Spangled Man with the plan. It wasn't. But I think they did play Mighty Shield in the post credits.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Which, Johnny, I don't know if you're doing it intentionally, but you're doing it sounds a lot like the old Hercules theme song when you're singing it. Like the John
Okay, I'm
was
not
it
the only one who got that. All right.
yeah, the Johnny Nash song, the Hercules, Hercules, which is right around the Spider-Man time for me.
Well, it was probably sung by the same artist or same studio.
Yeah, because I know Hercules I think it was Johnny Nash who did the song "I Can See Clearly Now the Rain Is Falling." Like it's
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
I'm setting them up for you, Johnny.
I can see all the obstacles in my way. I love that song. Sunshiny day. Anyway, Corey Flood says, okay, this MCU thing is too deep to type. So because Corey typically disagrees with me on these things.
Corey needs to be on the show so he can talk about it.
Hey, I've invited him. Open invitation, Corey. Yeah, no, we see these things differently because we love them so much. But I am partial to the 60s Spider-Man series and 1982 Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. You
know, it's good that we can have different opinions, but still love each other at the end of the day. And that would have been a good Spider-Man 94 episode.
I will say this. This show, my son was obsessed with, really turned my son into a comic books fan. And now
that's good. You should love it for that reason.
Well, I do. I don't loathe this show. I just don't like it very much. But the show that followed this, well, not immediately followed it, but the later show, Spectacular Spider-Man, unreal good.
We'll really followed it after and was a total flop is Spider-Man Unlimited.
Yeah.
People don't even talk about that.
That was a continuation of this series, but with Spider-Man in space on an alternate planet with the high evolutionaries, animal men, new men, and it was not good. But speaking of Spider-Man anime, this is the Spider-Man anime that you mentioned, Drew.
Yes.
I want to watch it. Can I borrow that, Johnny?
You can have it.
What?
This was aired on MTV. It's
that's not the anime. That's I know what you're talking about. You don't want to see that. That's another one
you
that
don't
the
Spider-Man,
the Spider-Man community is just like, oh wow.
Okay. So what year? Okay, yeah, we'll have to talk, Drew. We'll have to talk about that anime.
Yes. I think they actually have it on Disney Plus. They have that series, and
I have Crunchyroll.
Ooh, we'll talk.
So Corey Flood adds there are a lot of crossovers in the various Marvel projects. He's right. The 60s Marvel superheroes had tons of overlap. That Submariner versus Doctor Doom episode had all of the heroes, including the X-Men. Okay, yes, it did. But here's the thing about those 60s animated shows. And this is why, for me, they don't really count as the establishment of the screen MCU, because those 60s animated shows were actually taken directly from the frames of the comic. And those still images were slightly animated. They used these zoom in techniques. They made the mouths move, but nothing else did. So they had a pose. Hey, Dr. Doom, I'm going to get you. And then the eyes move. And that was it. That was the extent of the animation. And they were directly adapted from the comic books. I mean, directly, using the same artwork, the script, everything. So I love those shows, by the way, but I just don't think they count for the screen MCU until we get the original stories with Spider-Man and His Amazing Friend. That's all I got to say. All right. Any further comments on this from our panel? Hey, I will say that the Spider-Man animated series had great action figures.
I had that one too. Oh man, that Scorpion was so cool.
Yeah, I had the whole line at one point. They've since, been played with by my son and destroyed, but great action figures. All right, so if nobody else has any other commentary on Spider-Man 94.
Okay, I do.
Okay.
One thing.
Oh, wait.
I was like, if you're new introduction to Spider-Man 94, these are the 3 arcs I recommend you watch. Kraven the Hunter arc, the symbiote arc, and then also I would say it's a toss-up between Secret Wars and the Tablet of Time arc. Those are the 2 toss-ups for me for my like top 3 ones if you really want to get introduced to it. Everything else is kind of fluff and kind of very like wonky, but those 3 I think has the most like substance and story making and world building.
And for anyone who was disillusioned with the Madam Web TV series or movie, the Madam Web movie, watch this animated series because Madam Web is all through it. And this is the Madam Web that, for whatever reason, they thought would make a great movie and fans were expecting. And thank God they didn't adapt this Madam Web. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But Aubrey, last thoughts on Spider-Man 94?
Okay, well, I do remember it. The episodes that I did see, and I watched the reruns every time it came on. I love this series enough that it's one of the at least 5 that we've done that I am definitely going to want to own in the future. I'm not going to lie about that, and it's not because Drew likes it and Johnny doesn't. It's because in this series, not just the voice acting, it's not just the fact that Aerosmith is connected to the music, and now I know why I love the intro. It's also because the depth of the characters, just in the mini arc that you had me watch that I didn't even watch until this morning, by the way, because I was too busy watching the first season going, oh, this is what we should watch. And then you're like, no, the very end. I'm like, okay. I love Storm's line in there in Spider-Man, where she is basically reminding Peter Parker that it doesn't matter if he feels like everything meant nothing, because they were showing how amazing they were, whether or not that mattered in the end. And that was actually what truly mattered. I got to see Ben, who you never get to see Thing as Ben.
Wait. Aubrey, it doesn't matter because everyone's amazing. Isn't that the most millennialism ever?
Oh, you know what? I am.
Hey.
So Storm's line. Here we go. Storm's line. No, Spider-Man. I don't know who is the Beyonder, but I know who we are. In this world, we acted magnificently. And
there's
I think
your participation trophy.
Yep.
Magnificently. Shush. You know what I have to say is that what this generation has proved to me, this new generation, as being the older generation that was a teenager when this series particularly came out, is we are all magnificent in our own way. And when we shine the brightest, we help everyone in our society get better, regardless of age, background, or how we were raised. And Spider-Man, though he missed out on a lot of family things, and a lot like Batman, I will say in this series, harkens to a man who feels lost and against the world, yet somehow perseveres. I love that in this generation especially, not only are we learning to shout out the differences and balances in femininity and masculinity, but we are also proving to everyone that we can all be magnificent.
Well, wait a minute.
That's why I like Spider-Man 94.
According to this frame, there is no difference between femininity and masculinity.
About to be. It's about to be.
All right, Jeff. Spider-Man 94. Final thoughts.
I mean, everything you guys say makes me think of something else that kind of annoys me about the show. So you do not have to comment on these. I'll just try to run through them real quick. For some reason, in the third episode of this arc, Spider-Man starts doing like a voice log, like Captain's log, Spider-Man. And I'm like, why is he doing this? Who's this for? Why did he start doing it? He actually uses a chessboard to move the pieces around as though they're actually playing chess. Giant sandworms, like we're in Dune or Beetlejuice for some reason. And then finally, my last thought is, did the teams not seem rather unfair? Like, am I forgetting some of the villains? Like we had Doom, Dr. Octopus, Red Skull, Lizard, and the Spider Slayer. So that's 5. Spider-Man's got Spider-Man, the whole Fantastic Four. That's already 5 people. You got Captain America, Iron Man. So now you're up to 7. And then he cheats and brings Black Cat in. So now he's at 8. And then they very easily convince the Lizard to join their team. And then Spider Slayer, pretty much at the drop of the hat, it's like, I'm on your guys' team too. So by the end, it's like 11 versus Doom.
Well, and Storm.
And Storm. Sorry,
12,
I forgot Storm.
12.
Yeah. It seemed like you guys better win this. But yes, so I'm sure if I watched it again, I would have more issues with it. So it's best not to go back to that well.
That is fantastic. Well, that is fantastic. That is our analysis of Spider-Man 94. I think we got 2 thumbs up from the bottom row and 2 half thumbs from the top row. Now, before we get to why Jeff is here, we've got to acknowledge one of our sponsors. Once again, Dr. Malcolm's Body Bags. Check this out. When I was a kid, the Mighty Men and Monster Makers was one of the coolest toys on the planet. Well, Body Bags takes that idea and ramps it up a notch by doing it in 3D. There are 4 different assortments that come in zippered body bags, and you can mix and match to create your own characters and abominations. Get yours today.
Body bags.
And we are so happy that they did meet their Kickstarter goal with our help. They went way over it. And by the way, speaking of Mighty Men and Monster Maker, this is it. The original one. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I had that when I was a kid too.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we are here with Jeff as our very special guest for prizes from the cereal box, aka New Loot. Jeff, you have a project that's going on that is so cool. I wanted you to share it with our audience. You are doing basically a live game show on your podcast, Deep Cuts. Tell everyone about this.
Okay, so it's called Deep Cuts the Game. It's a podcast you can get pretty much everywhere, the same places that you can probably find this. And so what it is, every week, it's myself hosting with my friend Alex as kind of the Ben Stein of the show, like you're trying to beat him. And I bring on 2 other guests. And what I do is I give everyone 3 movies. So usually they're connected. So this last week I did Solo, a Star Wars story, Galaxy Quest, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And what they're trying to do is try to remember the most random, obscure, or minor actors from those movies. So much like I was doing here with the voice actor work, they're trying to remember that, say, Alan Rickman was the voice of the sad robot in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but he's also in Galaxy Quest as one of the actors. So you would get like bonus points. So we just kind of do that because I really love looking at like people who just had like one little line, or maybe you forgot that like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like Jason Schwartzman is in it for 3 seconds, or the voice of the supercomputer at the end is Helen Mirren. So there's just little things that like you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Or like maybe you guys remember like a movie like Back to the Future 2. Elijah Wood is one of the kids playing video games at the arcade. So it's just a way for us to kind of rediscover those movies.
That's so cool.
So yeah, we just kind of play that, and we do a few rounds, and we talk about movies, and yeah, it's just a fun way to kind of like look at movies a different way.
I
yeah,
love that.
Yeah, find us on Spotify and everywhere else. Find us on Twitter, Deep Cuts the Game. We're on most socials, Deep Cuts the Game. And thank you for having me on, Johnny, and a chance to promote the show.
Yeah. So I'm see when I asked Jeff to be on, I thought there was like a physical game, like a board game, which I think
Not yet, Johnny. Not yet.
Ooh, not yet.
I think it's definitely something that needs to happen. But I love the idea that it is a live, basically a live game show. And there it is at Deep Cuts the Game. Find it on all the socials, follow their podcast, listen. It's going right at the top of my listen list.
Thank you, Johnny. We got double episode coming out this week. So if you love sci-fi and Star Wars and stuff, 2 episodes coming out Sunday, very sci-fi heavy.
Yeah, I love this.
And I'll say my favorite thing with the game is a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know the person's name. I recognize them, but I don't know their names. We are very liberal with the rules. If you can tell me something else they're in. So for instance, nobody knows Earl Bowen's name from Terminator, but you might be like, the guy, he's the psychiatrist in Terminator. I'd be like, good enough for me. You get the points. So, if you recognize them from an episode of Seinfeld, good enough for me.
Hello, Newman.
Newman.
But yeah, so it's a lot of fun. We've just recorded our 9th episode, so things are going really well.
All right, so this is a chance for our audience to jump in on the ground floor and really boost Deep Cuts the Game. And let's everyone go listen, follow their podcast, give them a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you check them out, and let's encourage them to do a home version of Deep Cuts the Game.
That would be fun. I'm really hoping one day someone from Hollywood calls and says, hey, Patton Oswalt wants to host your show. And I'll be like,
oh, man.
It's all yours.
Oh, my gosh. That would be great.
Yeah. So,
also, I could see this as a computer or a video game. I mean, you don't know Jack kind of style.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of
right?
that.
That's what it reminds me of immediately.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jeff.
No, sorry. I was just going to say it's a lot of fun. And it's great just having different people on and seeing what their frame of reference is for someone. Like someone was trying to remember David Spade's name and they couldn't do it. And then rather than just saying Saturday Night Live or, something more recent or, he was like the guy from Just Shoot Me. And I was
I was going to say that. Oh my gosh.
He
was great on that show.
He's got a new game show too out that I can't remember the name of it, where it's some sort of like tricking game show. And I was like, really? That's what your go-to is for David Spade, not Saturday Night Live or
Tommy Boy
or Grown Ups or anything.
Or George Bush.
No, that was Dana Carvey.
That was Dana Carvey.
Oh, Dana Carvey.
Yeah, who they now have a podcast together. Yeah.
Oh,
that's awesome. Well, guys, we are over time, as usual, but we covered a lot of stuff. And Aubrey, I'm going to encourage you to go do some pictures in this cosplay. This is fantastic. I'm super impressed by what you've done with the makeup and everything. It just is so good. So get some pictures, please.
okay.
Get some selfies. And Jeff, thank you for being on. Everyone, check out.
Thank you very much.
Deep Cuts the Game, and make sure you check out Drew's podcast, Drew versus the World, everywhere that you listen to podcasts as well. And follow Aubrey at Miss Kindred Ivy on Instagram. That's her social media platform of choice. And you can follow me at johnnybeyond.com and click on the social media platform of your choice because I'm everywhere. And heads up, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we are going to be talking about those 60s Marvel animated shows with a very special guest Matthias Nastos from Retro Rewind the 80s.
Oh, cool.
It is one of the biggest social media brands on Instagram, over 300,000 followers. He's a mega star. He's going to be with us in 2 weeks.
Nice.
And next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, Aubrey. You'll find out when I decide. Anyway, so
sometimes, guys, I'm also on the edge of my seat. This is what's going to happen.
But you've got the list. It'll be from the list. Anyway, that's it. That's it for this morning. Hope you guys had fun with us. Until the next time, tell 200-300 of your closest friends to come share the fun. Love you, mean it. We'll catch you on the back of the cereal box. Ta-da!
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi's.